Hi everyone. Can you all hear me? Yeah, great. I'm Sarah. I am the Alumni Relations Manager here at Roehampton. I have been working at Roehampton now for about 5 years in Alumni Relations. And before that I studied here. I did my master's here in choreography, so I'm not quite sure how I ended up in Alumni Relations. It has not much to do with dance or choreography, but I'm here nonetheless. So before moving into Alumni Relations, while I was studying, I was also working in the communications department here.
Hi, I'm Alice. I'm the mentoring and volunteering coordinator here. We'll speak more a little bit about it, but I have an office both in alumni and in careers. As Eleanor was saying, our department holds both.
Great. So Eleanor gave a very high-level summary of how our department works. So in 2013, we centralized alumni relations and development. So before that time, we actually didn't have one department for that, and it was run individually by each of the 4 colleges. So in 2013, we moved into our lovely attic and really started to lay the groundwork for what we're doing currently, and to build a foundation and to start to contact some of the alumni that hadn't heard from us for years, decades, a lot of them. So it's been, in the beginning it was a bit slow moving, but now we've really started to focus on key elements which we will discuss in a bit.
And so before there was a careers department, and at first careers worked more within the departments. We had advisors for each department, and then we became more a centralized unit with a centralized area where students of all departments could come and visit advisors and things like that. Also, the original, before we joined, started using the Illuminati platform, Roehampton Connect, which is what we call it on our end. We had a mentoring scheme that was run paper-based. It was called GMS, or the Graduate Mentoring Scheme. People used to apply, this is a picture of actually the paper application we used to have. It was like a little booklet, and we used to have to pair people up. Students would come, talk to us what they were interested, what kind of mentees they were interested in. We'd then go through our own database, the staff members, and try to pair them up. And we had an opening for applications every autumn term, and we did only about a handful of students at a time because it was very time consuming since everything was paper based.
So, as I said, where's the arrow? There should be an arrow that goes through the transition. So this is basically the key years of how we've grown into the department that we currently are, which is alumni development and careers. In doing so, we streamlined a lot of processes, including mentoring, and that was one of the key focuses in bringing the 2 teams together. When we moved into having the 3 teams in one, and now we have a 4th team, as Eleanor mentioned, in 2015, we started to discuss how mentoring would evolve and talk about some of the limitations of the paper-based system and the necessity to have that move forward, and how we could build on that, and how the scope could develop, and how we could get a lot more people involved in the system, because we knew how beneficial it was both for students and for alumni. So our team now has our department now has 4 distinct teams. Although we are distinct and we all have our own targets that we have to follow, we work very closely together. And especially with Alice's role in the team, she kind of sits between alumni relations and careers, which is a very, very valuable role to our mentoring platform. And it means that she has, currently she has 2 desks. So she has one here in alumni relations with me, and we go over all of the nitty-gritty data from the alumni side of things. And then she also works in the careers team, which is across campus. And those of you who are staying in Elm Grove, on the ground floor, you might notice that there's lots of services for students there. One is called the Hub. That's our front-facing careers area. And so Alice runs drop-in sessions and things from there. So she becomes very student-facing from time to time, which is a really, I understand, unique opportunity that the university has, and a lot of you might not have access to both sides. So we will discuss a bit about, later in our talk, about how you can bridge the gap even if you're not in the same department.
And so along after with the new team, around the same time is when we went over into having Roehampton Connect. And some of the great things of now having an online platform, aside from it being faster and easier, as I explained earlier, on the paper-based system, we used to take applications from students and we tried our best to pair them with people they were interested in. And sometimes some students like the power in their hands. So one of the benefits that many of our students enjoy is that they can look through the directory online and see who's there and decide which mentor they're interested in and directly request mentoring from them or ask them a question if they want to know more. The other thing is the flexibility, is now we can take mentors from just about anywhere around the world. And they indicate right then and there what services they're willing to offer, what's their preferred contact method and such. And then there's also a way for us to, not only for our students to network was another thing, but I think it's also great because it helps us in a way to formally recognize this relationship, have it stored somewhere. And it's one of the places we looked at, for example, when we ran this year our mentoring awards. But we look into different ways that we can use that information to formally recognize, not only on the student side, but on the mentor side, of how much we appreciate their dedication.
I'm also going to mention there that so a lot of I guess a lot of ways that it's difficult to get senior management to buy into resource and everything related to mentoring, because it's quite difficult to actually have the numbers in front of you. So you can't say, oh, this relationship was better than this one, because you're not part of it. So there's no way of actually taking some of the data and quantifying what happens with it. But one thing that we have noticed is that with the online system, we can at least give some of the key statistics. So we can say X amount of relationships were finished this month and X amount were started this month. The amount of messages that were sent between users on the platform, because it's not necessarily just those that are formally in a relationship, because although we want everyone to formally go through that process, sometimes they find someone, they send a couple messages, they never start a relationship on the online platform. They take that away and they do it themselves. But so we can use the numbers to our advantage and explain them a bit more now that we've moved online.
And this right here is just an image of our homepage. We also have, aside from this, we also have a university information landing page, which is the one that we promote because we have a link to this site from our university page. And it basically, other than just having a link onto here, it also has the guides that we have available. We have guides for mentors, mentees, frequently asked questions, and things of that nature. Also, I'm not sure if you've mentioned it yet or not, but basically we kind of run a two-man team. It's basically me and Sarah running the mentoring scheme at the university. And I'm actually leaving at the end of May. So Sarah's
I'm sad.
I would definitely say that it is, though, a good idea to have more than one person. Also, I'm not full-time, I should mention. There is a lot to do, especially because if you're not just running the site, it's also running the data and everything else. But yeah, so our, one thing I haven't mentioned is, so the way we run our mentoring scheme is our mentees are students or recent graduates, and our mentors are alumni, staff, and friends or supporters of the university. And I'd say the majority currently on there is alumni, and we do have quite a few around the world. So as I had mentioned, one of the benefits is being able to have mentors from all around the world. We have quite a few alumni that are now more engaged.
So once we merged the alumni and careers team, we immediately noticed the benefit not only of mentoring, but of having access to students and alumni, and also having access to donors, financial donors, with the development team in there as well, because as many of you will know, there's that volunteer time, often also donate financially. So it's good to have everything under one roof where you can, we're a small team, we shout through the wall, we go and sit at someone's desk unannounced and just say, hey, do you know about this? And it makes it a lot easier to do that, even though the careers team is not directly in this building. But just to have the access to those staff as well and knowing what's going on with them. So Alice does go to all of the careers team meetings as well. So she's very aware of every event that they're running, every drop-in session that they're running, whenever they go in to speak with academics, and she will use them as a launching point as well to get access to our students, because a lot of what the careers team does opens up doors. So it means that we don't have to go in from the alumni side of things and say, hey, we have this great mentoring platform happening, and can we talk to your students about it? We say, hey, our careers team are coming to talk to your students, and while they're there, can we talk about mentoring? Which is really good because it means that we have the buy-in across the university. So it's not just within our team that we have the buy-in, we have the buy-in from every academic, really, our senior management as well. When our department merged, it was actually top down. So it was our vice chancellor that determined that this was the best way forward. So we didn't have to argue our case to anyone, because it was coming directly from our strategic plan and it was coming directly from the vice chancellor. Now that made things so much easier for us. I know probably a lot of you in the room don't have that same experience, and it is a bit difficult to sometimes get your message across to people when they don't quite understand what's happening and the importance of it. But we've definitely noticed that having, especially alumni relations and careers, using the same key messages allows us to work together very efficiently, and it means that not just with mentoring, but with other things that are happening, other networking events, we can use either alumni events and invite students, use events that are geared towards students and invite alumni, whether they be recent graduates or people that are very advanced in their field. And while all of that is happening, we might just slip into a pack that they receive a flyer about mentoring, or just talk with someone on the day and say, have you thought about mentoring? So it's actually, it's really, from our side of things, we've found that it's really important just to continue talking to your colleagues and understanding what they're doing, and then also being really receptive to the fact that they might find what you're doing really interesting and might also want to piggyback off of what you're doing and how you're utilizing resource within the university that already exists.
And then another interesting change that we made was that we recently started hiring student careers assistants. They're basically students who we hired, careers hired, that help them at the hub, which, as Sarah mentioned, is the front-facing, where they run their drop-in sessions. Careers runs their drop-in sessions and such. But the other great thing is we also use student careers assistants to help us at pop-ups and events. For example, I might have a mentoring pop-up at the library, and I'll use student careers assistants to help man the table. At graduation, when people are graduating, we'll use them again to man the table, to help me man the table and to get the word out to people who are graduating. And we actually have one of our careers assistants student careers assistants who joined us today. So at the end, if anyone has any particular questions, we brought her along just in case. And and one of the great things which I'm sure she'll mention is that students talking to students, it has a different impact than a staff member speaking to a student. So it's one of the benefits, I think, great benefits of us having them. So as far as getting the word out, we have a number of events. Just this past November, we had our first mentoring awards, and that's actually a picture from it. That's our VC in the middle, and on the left was the mentor of the year, and on the right was the mentee of the year. As I said, we're also at graduation. We have a stand there, a pop-up. We have a stand there where we hand them out all the information of all the services that's available to them now as a graduate, which includes mentoring. We did a Careers Fest week just recently, which was a week-long event of careers, different types of careers events, and I ran 2 specific long drop-in sessions where people had half-hour sessions with me. And then we also had pop-up, as I mentioned, we have pop-up stands in the library, which is a great place to catch students because all students from all departments head there. So we, in the little foyer area, and right before they enter, we have a little table and banners and such, and we draw them in. I have drop-in sessions, as Sarah mentioned. We have workshops, which are like information sessions, training sessions that we run in areas with computers for people who are either on the system and need a little bit of push finding a mentor, or people who aren't on the system yet and want to see a walkthrough of it. As far as engagement, we have many different types of engagement with trying to draw people in to join. We use social media, the university's Facebook page, Twitter, things of that nature. We have PVLs as personal verification links. We send out import data over to Illuminati to get these personal links ready for students and for recent graduates. And basically we send out an email telling them, hey, we heard you recently graduated, or welcome to the university if they're a new student. And we just thought we'd like to let you know about a resource that's available for you. And we have all you need to do is click on this link, and a lot of the information is pre-filled for you. And that also, we found that's very popular. Students like the idea of just having to click and having that information right then and there. So we've had those use of those links have been very, very popular. We have newsletters, both alumni newsletters, careers newsletters, then staff and student online newsletters. I go to in-curriculum sessions in the department, and I do a specified information session with them. University events. Also with current members, what we also have done, we've done exclusive invitations. Recently we had a re-signing with Santander, who helps fund the mentoring scheme for us. And we invited those who are already on the system to be able to join us for that special signing event for our partnership, to renew our partnership. We also had a power bank giveaway recently. We said the next 3 or 5 relationships, the mentor and mentee will receive a free power bank from us. And the other thing is that we have quite a lot of promotional materials, some of which I placed on your table. We have pencils, and which tend to also be popular because a lot of students like the pencils, I think, because a lot of people tend to go the pen way, and they tend to really get excited when they see a pencil. It's almost like a lost art. We also have chocolates they also place on the table. We have flyers. We have a binder, which we have top highlighted mentors as like a quick cheat sheet for students to look through if they're not on the system to kind of get them interested. We have postcards, pull-up banners, a whole lot of them. This is just a one of the flyers or posters we have up. And basically it has a little parts of key data and statistics to draw students in. And we always tell them that the main purpose of the scheme is mentoring. We want to pair them with an experienced professional to guide them on their career's journey. But it's also a plus that nearly a quarter of our mentors who are currently on the system are willing to consider work experience, internships, jobs, or work shadowing, and students like that figure. We also have, as it states up there, we let them know how many relationships are currently waiting, how many mentors are waiting to be paired. And yeah, just a little bit of different, and it also has the top 6 industries. We always make sure to let students know that just because those are the top 6, we have over 50 listed. But yeah.
I'm also just gonna say, this one we tend not to print. So this one is definitely more for social media. And then, I mean, Alice is amazing and does all of these in-house for us. So she created this, she updates it all the time with different statistics, and so it's constantly relevant. We can pull out key statistics as well and use those for if we're running something on Snapchat, where it will then run maybe 3 statistics in a row. We work very closely with our social media team at the university because we know that is really the way that students engage with information and what's going on. Just one thing that we've noticed, I don't know if anyone else uses a Snapchat, but one thing that we've noticed is if you start it with the first snap that says, sign up for whatever, and in our case, we sign up for mentoring, and then say, make sure to screenshot these. It works really well, because then instead of it just disappearing from their phone after the 30 seconds, it's there, it's saved to their phone, they can go back and look at it.
And these images of our flyers to get mentors and mentees to join. And as Sarah mentioned, these are printed in-house. I created these and we just print them in-house. On the left side is the one we use for students, and on the right side for students or recent graduates, so the mentee side. And on the right side is what we use for to draw in mentors. And as you could see, they're quite similar. We wanted them to look similar, because they're for the same purpose. But we wanted to have slight differences to also make, for example, the mentors feel like it's more geared towards them. As before, we used to only have one flyer for both.
If you want, we have copies of these flyers. We didn't put them out on the table, but if you want to take one home with you, just let us know and we can give you them. So this is mostly just a wrap up of some, I guess, ideas of how, despite the fact that we have this lovely arrangement of having access to lots of different teams within the university because we're in one department, you might not have that. So just some, I guess, brainstorming ideas of how you can work together. Some of the really, really, really useful events that we've noticed draw in a lot of engagement, both from the student side and from the alumni side, is graduation. At graduation, people are very excited, but also a bit nervous about what happens next. So we get a lot of those that just finished, don't know what they're going to do for a job, looking for help in any way, they won't really digest information that you give them because there's lots happening, and they might have had a couple glasses of champagne already, and they're looking to celebrate with their friends and family. But if you can give them some very targeted things that they can look at later, it really does help. And we notice when we look at those that sign up to the platform, that week after graduation we get a real boost in numbers. So that we kind of just like shake a pencil pot with these pencils, and as people walk by, give them out, that kind of thing. We do the same type of thing at Freshers Fair. At Freshers Fair, students are bombarded with information. It's not very useful to try to give them a huge document to read, or we found it's not useful to email them at that time. It's not useful even to put anything on social media at that time. So we do things like give out the chocolates then, because if you're giving something out, they will come and they will take it. They might not listen to anything that you say, but they might then pick up that chocolate later and actually read what it says on the front of it. And so we've found that in different trial and error, we've found that some things work really well. And there are definitely times when you can give them a lot of information, you can give them flyers, you can sit down with them, you can have a chat with them. And then there are times of the year where it's not worth your time, it's not worth their time. And so giving really, really short key messages, where that might just be a link, it might be an email address, it might just be, hey, we have mentoring, and that's it. And then they'll know, oh yeah, that was that person that gave me chocolate last time, I'll go talk to them, when we have a more formalized career fest or something like that. They do actually recognize us, and they will come back and say hi. But outside of events, we've also found that the way we work with registry and our planning team is really, really important, because we use them to get data, to get enrollment data. We have an agreement with them that they, after enrollment in September each year, they give us the data in a format that's easy for us to use, so we can then use that for verification purposes on the system and generate PVLs with that, as Alice was mentioning. And it means that we, in late October, early November, we actually send those out to every new student who's on campus. And it's a personalized link that has their name, and it really works, and we do actually get a lot of first year students using it. And then our relationship that we've built with the academics is crucial. Students listen to academics. They will listen to an academic, and they will listen to a student, so our student careers team works really well as well. They will listen to those two and actually take on board what they're saying, much more than if I talk until I'm blue in the face about the importance of mentoring, when it's actually their lecturer or a peer saying, look, this system is great. Then they're actually engaged with it. Then they want to be part of it. And from the alumni side, it is really important that we have all of the alumni data, and that we continue to communicate with our alumni, thank them for the time that they give to us, to continue to answer any queries that they have. We don't really run any training sessions for them, but we have resources and guides. So we do send out information when people sign up to the system. And then we have a dedicated inbox that's mentoring@roehampton.ac.uk. We tend to get a lot of our alumni or friends or supporters of the university emailing us on that. And we do respond really within 48 hours to every single query that comes through. And it's really important, even if the answer is no to something, to just continue to talk to them. They will understand. They just want a response a lot of times. So that's great, and it means that because we have the generic inbox, they know that it's a targeted thing, so they're only asking us mentoring questions. And I mean, students will come through as well through that inbox, but it's mostly alumni. And then other than that, I mean, we're always looking to explore new things. That's part of why we're excited to hear what other people have to say at this conference. And we're hoping to borrow some of your genius ideas. And we're always looking to develop our platform to make it as beneficial as possible to our students and our alumni. And so we have just launched the advanced mentoring module. So those of you who don't have it or don't work with Illuminati, it's basically a more focused way of targeting specific cohorts of students or alumni for a tailored program. And we have made the decision that because we're so reliant on our academics for both alumni data and alumni contacts, and also for students and the importance of the messaging that they give to students, that we're letting our academic teams really run these. I mean, we're running them from the admin side of things, but they are the ones driving what's happening. So a lot of modules now that end up being careers focused, as well as just the straight lecturing that was happening previously. And so their students are required to get a mentor as part of certain modules. And we're using this platform now to provide the facility for them to actually access mentors, which is great for us because it means that we have students that have to use it, which will boost our numbers. But it also means that the lecturers who are running these modules are bringing in people that are contacts that we would never have access to. So some of them are professional contacts that they have. Some of them are alumni that we've lost data for, but they still keep in touch with. So that's really the way that we're looking to advance and also keep it as a university tool rather than just an alumni or careers tool.